So I want to call this episode Manipulating Outcomes is Witchcraft. And I heard that in a sermon one time by Dr. Darius Daniels. He had said that even with good intentions, that manipulating outcomes, the Old Testament calls that witchcraft. Even if you have good intentions, meaning that you just can't control and manipulate things. You just gotta kind of let things be what they're going to be. So the reason why I'm want to speak about this is because I have a really good friend. Actually, she is a sweetheart. Been friends for a couple years now. But if you have been listening to this a while, you know I like to talk about the dark side of things and that everybody has their shadow. And we're at the point in the friendship where I'm starting to see her shadow, and my intuition is just like going off. Like my spidey sense is going ding 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 ding. Like something's not quite right. And when you live in the three-dimensional natural world, you know, but you operate in the supernatural and in the spiritual, you know, you got to learn how to trust yourself and trust your intuition and trust that the Holy Spirit is guiding you a certain way. And one of the things I had learned uh, with my divorce is that I had to start trusting myself. And one of the things the Holy Spirit had said to me through the twin flame journey is that I need to get around some better people. And I say that to say because, I would speak to her extensively. I was very anxious and nervous because it was my first time dating again after separation and divorce. And I would confide a lot in this particular friend. And I am now looking and seeing that some of that feedback was just terrible. Just like, that video episode where I was speaking my girlfriends give terrible advice. Some of it was just not good. And I'm not saying any of it was with bad intention, but I think it came from her shadow place based off of what her shadow woman would do. And it's not necessarily what my shadow is about. And definitely it's not working for my light. So I used to talk about this friend a lot to the man I was dating. And there was an incident where there was an event where she showed up before me, and she had knew I was dating a guy, and he had knew of her, but it wasn't like neither one of them were supposed to know that the other knew about the other, if that made any sense. So one of the things that she is known for doing, she's just very friendly, just goes up to people, introduces herself, and talks. And I noticed that he was checking her out at this particular event, and then he asked me a couple of questions about her, which kind of raised my spice. Like, you're really crushing on this friend. No, I didn't mean that. Kind of like trying to, not admit it because, you don't want to cause issues in a dating relationship, but you can kind of tell, okay, you kind of think she's good looking, which is fine because she really is. But we have worked together on several philanthropy and community service projects, and I gotta tell you, this particular friend, I'm starting to realize, is just really lazy. Like, I started to notice that I was really picking up the slack in these projects, more slack than I should have. And it really was pronounced because during the vacation months. So she had went on vacation, and I noticed that basically the projects were left like unfinished and a mess, and now I was kind of left to kind of deal with it, and I was pissed. And we had a conversation, and we kind of worked through it, but then it was kind of like she kind of went on her own and started talking about moving forward with some other projects. And I kind of thought to myself, I'm falling the fuck back from the rest of these projects, because what I don't want to happen is that she kind of writes a check that she's not prepared to cash, and then me come and clean it up, and that's just not what I'm trying to do. Like, I have no problem working on projects, service projects, philanthropy projects, but everybody got to do their part. And I know we were at another event, and we were kind of talking about the next kind of somewhat it's somewhat mandatory. Well, in this particular organization, it's not, they don't mandate it, but it's pretty much expected. Maybe they need to start mandating it, but it's not the type of organization where these things are mandated, but everybody kind of knows, okay, you show up for these things. Like, you show up for these things, you wear the appropriate uniform, and you do what you're supposed to do. So, I was talking to her and another young lady about the next, like, kind of mandatory kind of event to go to, and she kind of gave me this look like, yeah, I ain't going to that. Like, y'all gonna take care of that for me. I was kind of like, okay, okay. Okay. I see your modus operandi now. Okay. I see how you roll. And then you know, there's also some coffers that she has access to that she has not disclosed to the rest of the organization what's in there. And you know, I think that's just the her shadow person, that she does, like, having funds independently on her own, making decisions on how those funds are going to be used without disclosing what's in there. And these type of organizations, you're supposed to give reports. You're supposed to give uh, program reports and financial reports. And all these quote unquote mandatory meetings, where these reports are supposed to be given, she has not attended any. And it's kind of like, I think the expectation is, I'm gonna do it for her. And I'm pretty much going to have to say, well, no, I think I pretty much said it, but maybe I need to spell it out a little more. I am not in the position that you're in. It is not my job to deal with this or to report on this. And just because I've done it as a courtesy in the past doesn't mean um, you can continue to abuse that courtesy. I did it as a courtesy because, you didn't really know about the meet. She was pretty new to the organization at this point, so you didn't really pretty much know about those quote unquote mandatory meetings at that particular time. So since I was there, I decided to make a report, and because I really cared about the mission and the organization. And to me, I'm kind of starting to think, okay, you don't necessarily care about the mission and the organization the way I care about it. And because of that, that's going to cause a disconnect in the friendship. So we need to separate this part. Um, we need to separate this part. Um, our are working together in this organization. We need to separate that from our friendship. And what that means for me is that I'm getting off of your team because I feel as though I do too much. And if I didn't do anything, nothing would get done. So I need to let everybody see, okay, nothing's going to get done if I'm not a part of it. And I know this whole is supposed to be about manipulated outcomes. I know what the manipulated outcomes was. So at the particular mandatory meeting, the man I was dating would be at the one mandatory meeting, but that she pretty much kind of gave me looks like, yeah, I won't be going there. And I originally thought to myself, oh, maybe I shouldn't even invite her because I didn't want um um there to be any more interaction between them two. But then I had to stop and realize that one, I can't control their interactions, and two, because we're all a part of this organization with these projects, um, there's nothing to say that there hasn't been any further contact between them anyway. Like maybe he contacted her and didn't tell me because he would have a legitimate reason because of her position in the organization and because of his position in the organization. Or maybe she contacted him and didn't tell me. And again, she would have a legitimate reason because of her position and his position in the organization. Now, the reason why my intuition started flaring is because uh, she had told me the other day with this extra project she's trying to put together, that I don't feel as though she's going to be able to like fulfill the duty because she already kind of proven on the previous project she wasn't fulfilling the duty without help and assistance and scaffolding from me and another young lady. When she reached out to this other young man who's a part of this organization who has a position, um, I kind of felt as though I was the one that introduced them, and I had like a like just a spidey sense tingle, like, okay, why are y'all in contact independent of me? And of course, because of their positions, there's nothing on the surface in a 3D natural world. There's nothing, like to mention anything about it. It'd be like, girl, you tripping. Both of those positions warrant something, but I'm talking about intuition, the Holy Spirit talking to you. It's not something tangible that you can put your hand on. Not in the you can't, in the 3D experience, you're not gonna be able to explain it. But the feeling was, what are you up to with this particular man over here? And the other man that I was dating, I don't think she's had any. I honestly don't have And I don't have an intuitive feeling that she's had any contact with him outside of what I already know, right? But the intuitive feeling I had was, okay, you're trying to contact this other person that I have been friends with since pretty much childhood, because that person is going to do your work for you. It's basically what I'm trying to say, is that I just kind of felt as though she tried to contact she contacted this other guy before telling me she was going to contact him, because she thought that he was going to do the work, and she knows actually he will do the work. He's done work. He's done a lot of incredible work. And I always, when I talk to him, I was like, I appreciate everything that you do. You're hardworking, you know, um, you good man, you know, I, I appreciate you as my big brother for doing everything you've done to help us to complete these projects. And I kind of felt as though she kind of, her shadow woman kind of saw that, oh, he's willing to do the work for me. I don't know which law of power this is. It's the 48 laws of power. Um, the 48 laws of power, conceal your intentions, law number 3. Mm-hmm. So, her pretty much not saying that she didn't plan on going to the event, the mandatory event, but kind of the look she gave it away. Conceal your attention, always say less than necessary. Conceal your attention is law number 3. Law number 4 is always say less than necessary. Law number 7. I think this is her dark side. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Never do for yourself what the efforts of others can do for you. Use their wisdom, knowledge to further your own cause. In doing so, you will appear intimidatingly efficient and knowledgeable. Ultimately, those who work for you will be forgotten. You will be remembered. If you think it's important that you do all the work yourself, you won't get far. Consequently, find those with the skills you lack and find a way to take either their work as your own or hire them and put your name on their efforts. However, to do this effectively, your position must be secure, as otherwise people will call you out on the deception. I think that's her dark side. She gets others to do the work for her. Did I really believed in this um organization and the project and the mission, and another one of our friends also, and we both did work on this, but our names are not on, don't go on the reports or whatever. So she gets credit for that. And she gets credit for these things without having to go to these mandatory meetings, because she kind of relies on me. So, between, and I think the whole incident with the guy I used to date kind of checking her out was just kind of the Holy Spirit using that to kind of bring my attention and my gaze to her, to pay more attention to what she was doing. So I was doing, myself and another young lady was doing the work, and she was getting the credit, and she's courting another person to do some work for her. And actually, now I think about it, he is doing the work. He's the one trying to recruit different people for the project. Because somebody came up to me to try to recruit me for the project today, and I said, absolutely not, I'm not doing it. And they're like, why not? And I told them all the reasons what happened the first project we did, because she was trying to duplicate the project in another location. And I said, well, the first project we did, you know, people didn't do their part, and I'm stuck with all the work, and I'm not doing it. Right. And so I think, now I think about it, I think the Holy Spirit used him putting his gaze on her in that way, and I guess a lustful way. or a way like, oh man, this is a good looking chick, helps me to kind of pay attention. Like, okay, am I sharing too much about my dating stuff with her? And I think, and I don't think about, I think I was sharing too much information, and I was trying to get, honestly, I was trying to get help. And the as far as, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm inexperienced when it comes to dating. I hadn't dated a man since I was in my 20s. I'm in my mid 40s now, so I was really trying to get some insight, and for somebody who I thought was successful. And now that I really pay attention to her situation, her dating situation, she has a boyfriend. Her dating situation is really not something I aspire to, because there are certain key fundamental things that I want and I need in a romantic dating relationship that, she just does not have in hers. And there are certain things that she looks for, a certain spiritual leadership she looks for from me, that I think you should be getting that from your man. So I I really kind of think the Holy Spirit kind of had me to did all that to bring my attention to, you know what, you think you want to be like this woman, but you really don't. You are fine just the way you are. And you know you may think you want to like withhold the information of this mandatory meeting, but you really don't have to, because she wasn't going to go anyway. So trying to withhold it is actually probably going to do the opposite of what you're trying to get it to do. So you might as well just let it ride. If this person that that you used to date, that is gonna be at this meeting, and I guess it's one of those things like, oh, he could say, oh, you ended it with me, so I'm free to like move on to somebody else, including her. That could be said, but I honestly don't think that's what's going to happen. But now I'm thinking about it, I was in my mind kind of starting to kind of toy with the manipulating of the outcome. Like, oh, I don't really want them around each other, so I need to figure out a way to kind of keep them away from each other. But because of their positions within the organization, like they've already could have been in contact with not even knowing it, and if there's nothing I could do about that. And actually, within my marriage, I used to try to kind of like, oh, the girl that he's cheating on me with is in this particular state. Well, I don't think he had enough time um in his schedule to drive down there. So okay, I'm good. Not really thinking, okay, wait a minute, that woman might be willing to drive up here. And that's exactly what happened. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, you can't control and manipulate the outcomes. Like, if a person is gonna be trifling and try to date you and your friend, then that's what they're going to do. If a person's dark side is to try to get you and your other friends to do their work for them, but take the credit, then you have to decide within of yourself, do I want to continue to work on these projects with this particular person? And my answer to that question is no. I don't want to work on these particular projects, and I'm trying to work on just the friendship, and we'll see how the friendship goes without working on these projects together, because I really think the working on the projects together is a threat to the friendship. And everybody has their good side and their bad side. And one of the things I've done in the past is that when I've seen people's dark side come out, I just totally dropped them all together without even really taking consideration that that's the fullness of their personality. Like, and that everybody hides their darkness to extent. They don't just like shine lights on what's so terrible about them. Everybody just, puts their best foot forward. And when you first meet them, you always meet and when you first meet them, you always meet their representative first. So, I'm trying to do a better job of just not just the valuing and discarding people once I see their shadow. So that's all I have to say for now. You let me know what you think in the comments.